What if that guy from Smashing Pumpkins lost his car keys? Here we go. Where the fuck are my car keys? They were right here in my hand. I had them just a second. Well, I can't.
Microscopic section we're going to call History in a Flash. And I mean a flash. Smashing Pumpkins are an American alt-rock band from Chicago, Illinois, formed in 1988. Formed by Billy Corgan, of course, James Aha, Jimmy Chamberlain, Darcy Ritzky. In the original incarnation, excuse me. Of course, the lineup has gone through a lot of changes because, of course, Billy has an attitude and likes to fire people on left and right, including breaking up the entire band to go solo and make a really bad album called Swan Song, but that's okay. They started out of punk rock roots and alt contemporaries. The Pumpkins are diversely layered, guitar-sounding, gothic, dream pop, even sometimes called shoegazing, electronic, or even some would call them even grunge. I wouldn't, personally. That's just me. So, from that they started off. Their first album was called Gish, and they recorded Gish after a compilation, Light into the Dark, which featured several Chicago bands, including the first single, I Am the One, which eventually ended up as one of the singles from Gish, along with Rhinoceros. And that came around the time of 89 era. This was around grunge time. They started playing things around there, and the next one come out of the gate was Siamese Dream. And in all, it took 4 months to complete the record, which was budgeted exactly exceeding $250,000. Despite problems with recording it, Siamese Dream, of course, blew up and sold millions of records immediately because of how amazing it was. Let's be honest, it really is. From there, the lead single, Cherub Rock, addressed Corgan's feeling of the indie world, and everyone fell in love with them. After that, Pieces Icarus came out in '94, and immediately Melancholy in the Infinite Sadness, the double album masterpiece that is one of his greatest works ever, next to Siamese Dream, came out in, let's see, 97. After 97, they went on to do some things that were a little bit strange. 98, we have Adore, which is the electronic album, following Machina in 99 and Machina 2, which never even came out officially. But I don't know what to say about those because they were really controversial in the fact that they should not have even existed at that time period. They were just too soon, and the band could not recover from the heat they felt after that. Originally, they broke up. They came back after a while in around the 2007 era to pull out Zeitgeist. After Zeitgeist reformation, they went for a while doing something called Tea Garden by Kaleidoscope, which is an album inside of an album inside of a who cares. After that, we immediately fire into Oceania, and bam, we're here. This is Moments of an Elegy. History in a Flash. Did my best, people. It's hard to squeeze that much that quick. Alright, here's the rundown I wrote for this album. With every new Smashing Pumpkins album is another stories of what the hell am I going to get this time, Mr. Billy Corgan? This record is the second album inside of an album, which is, of course, like I was talking about, Tea Garden by Kaleidoscope, the era of that, where, of course, he even thinks it's so literal that he has to open tea gardens and perform 8-hour weird indie shows inside of them. The Oceania era, which was Nicola Flantoria and Mike Bryan and Jeff Schroeder, is now down to just Jeff Schroeder. Of course, firing Mike was a very dramatically ADD moment for it. Of course, if you read the story, it's classic Billy Corgan. And Nicole was fired with no explanation. The only other huge change on the album is the hiring of Motley Crue's drummer Tommy Lee for the drums. Strange, I know, but Billy Corgan! The newest record is an expansion on what is the last one, and this one would be supposedly more of a guitar record, where the last one was quieter and more synth-driven, sort of like Adore mixed with light guitar. Well, you never know which Billy Corgan you're going to get, though. You get the shit-talking one, the pro wrestler one, the tea fanatic, the failed solo artist, the musical genius. So here it starts. This is Tiberius, the opening track. It opens with a piano part before exploding into a huge swirling guitar line that only builds as it goes on, then fades back into piano, and a chorus repeat explosion happens every time. A fade and wave thing. It's a very strong start to the record, and the guitar record is right here. Its promise met. It's even the weaker parts of the album, like the lyrics, are strong here. They may get cheesy later on, but this is an album highlight. Following that, we reach Being Being, which is an acoustic guitar-driven, simple electric start, and then it explodes into something greater. The song is simple but beautiful and extremely catchy. I personally love this song, and I think it's one of the strongest they've done in a long time. Anais starts with an almost like disco entrance, with some space marches going on in the background from Tommy Lee, where he actually gets to add his biggest input to the album before Jeff Schroeder and Corgan do what they do best during the choruses, and that's just weave these guitar melodies together beautifully. The song is a fine line between the guitar and the synths of Ava Adore and Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness. One and All and We Are, the second single off of the album, is the best song on the album, and it shows the guitars off the most. It's a guitar record, the guitars work here, Billy and Jeff doing what they do. Honestly, this is just awesome work from them. Run to Me is probably my least favorite song on the album, sounding a bit too much like 30 Seconds to Mars' new stuff with the spacey, weird synths, but it's only for the start of that way. It actually ends up being a lot better than that. It's not a good song, necessarily, but it's not a bad song either. It has the cheesiest lyrics of the entire album and the most over-the-top synth work. It's trying to recapture Oceania, but maybe even Ava Adore, but it doesn't get there. It falls short. It's a one misstep on the album. Drum and Fife starts with an actual Fife intro before the drum and guitar marching beat comes in. The song is a great merge of what the album has done so far and what it wants to capture. It does guitars, it does synths, it does even fifes, but more importantly, it merges the eras of Smashing Pumpkins with the new alt sounding, the Oceania era, the Ava Adore synth era, as well as the guitar work from the earlier stuff, and it's just so damn catchy. I love it. Billy Corgan does a really good lead single on this one. Monuments is definitely a large page out of the Ava Adore playbook, and it starts with a synth and a drum beat, another song that makes Tommy Lee actually work for his money. And the verse may be awkward, slows down a bit, but it comes back and it gets better. Dorian actually sounds to me like it was from the Machinima era, which is weird, but again, the era's not terrible, not all of it. I actually appreciated it, and I appreciate this song. It fits in well here with a very synth-driven beat, and for what it is, again, the lyrics are lacking, but that's easy to forget with the music. Anti-Hero is the last song and the closing number with huge guitar riffs coming in and serious angst from Corgan. We're visiting the Zero era here, I think, which is great. I love it. It quickly passes, but it'll come back again a couple more times. This is about a bad relationship. You can almost hear him spit venom about this. As the opening line, he's talking about just hatred of this woman. It spirals and it builds to this abrupt stop and it ends. All in all, awesome album. I loved it. It's seriously really good stuff. Much like Oceania before it, Billy Corgan's in a groove. He really is. This is a major comeback from the era of Zeitgeist and Swansong, and honestly, I hope he keeps this upswing going because there's a new album coming out next year. Hopefully it's another one of these because I love this. Seriously, how could you complain? Anyway, sure, everyone opens his mouth and he makes me want to smack him in the face, but aside from that and the cheesy lyrics, they can be a little more, I don't know, too romantic comedy for me, but if you can get past that, the music itself is beautiful. The next one coming out next year, hopefully he keeps this trend up. I'd recommend Tiberius, Being, One and All We Are, and Drum and Fife. Honestly, 4.5 stars. The lyrics can get better. The rest is the music. Thanks. Got another one coming soon.